What's up, good folks? I just want to show y'all this beautiful view. Just being in the outdoors, right? In the park with it, because I like to be, outside. I like to get outside, be in the parks and stuff like that. I love bodies of water, so whether that's like, the ocean, lakes, the beach, I love the beach. Um, I just love what I'm really enjoying right now is the leaves. Like I love it when the seasons change and when the leaves, the colors change, on the leaves. I was also born in the fall, so I was born in the fall. I'm a fall baby, and yeah. So I guess that's why I love it so much. And in that transition from summertime to the fall, I just get excited and I love it. And, rightfully so. They say that, we get to thinking about certain things and different energies and how things change you know, when the seasons change, around the time of our solar return, around the time of our birth. And the scenery, the colors of the leaves, and the leaves changing from green to yellow is just so pretty. The reds and the oranges and the yellows, and I'm laughing because I have this I don't know what to even call it. Like, is it like geeky or something? I don't know. I guess it's just loving and enjoying nature, really, and the peace and the quiet. We all need that. But getting outdoors, I said in one of my previous videos that we are earthlings, and that's so real. So when you put your feet on the earth, you get outside in nature. I love the smell of fresh cut green grass. People have this weird thing where they like certain smells of stuff, right? They like weird smells. Like I love the smell of fresh cut green grass. I don't know if that's weird to some people, but I love the smell of gasoline, and I love the smell of tires when you go inside of a tire place. Like, there's people that love, weird smells of things. When my baby was a baby and if she had milk on her neck, obviously I'll wipe her neck off. You clean it off with like a towel, little baby washcloth. The smell good stuff for a wipey, right? But like the smell of baby breath or the smell of the milk on the baby or whatever, it just smells so good, right? Like, if you tapping in, you guys tell me, what's the weird thing that, the weird smells that you like? I said tires. I said fresh cut grass, and then I said babies, obviously. But I don't even know if that's weird, because like I think there's a lot of people that feel the same way, that I like the smell of baby breath. Like yeah. So I'm really enjoying just the peace and the quiet time. I'm really enjoying that. So to get into the topic that what I wanted to talk about, and I want to tell you, this is brought to you by yours truly, and also brought to you by my youngster. I have a youngster. I have a daughter, right? But then I also help raise, people that know me, they know I come from a big family, right? So I help raise youngsters in my family. And me and my kid, we have a lot of mommy-daughter conversations. We have a lot of, conversations and talks and things, and rightfully so, because I am a very active parent in my daughter's life. And, the whole leadership, the guidance and things, our children need guidance, very, very much so. So me and my daughter, this conversation is brought to you by yours truly, and a conversation that I had with my daughter is the reason why I'm bringing this conversation to you guys. So my daughter was sharing with me what she wanted, some of the things that she wanted. She was telling me about, different brands, and she was telling me about this hoodie, and then she was showing me a photo of this beautiful purse, right? And I asked my daughter, I want to know, I encourage my daughter to do her homework, and I want to know, are you doing your homework? Do you know who the creator is of this product that you want to patronize? Are you aware of who you are, wanting to patronize? Yay, nay, whatever. If not, okay, well, you got to do your homework. You need to get on your homework. You need to figure that out. You need to find out. You should. So in that conversation, I was explaining to her, I gave her the example of when we went to the mall and we went into a store called Psycho Bunny. And I'll be blatantly honest, like, I don't know a lot about Psycho Bunny. I just know that it's like this bunny, and then it has like a skull on it, and then it has skull and bones, and then like all I know is I remember saying like, nah, I wouldn't patronize that. It has a skull and it has bones on it, and I don't want to engage in anything, and I don't want to patronize anything that is not reflective of who I am as a woman. I don't want to patronize anything that is not representative or reflective of my morals, values, or where I'm going in life, my goals, my belief system, whatever. If I feel as though in the slightest way that it is contrary to my beliefs, it's going to be a no for me, and that's just me. So, I try to encourage my daughter in that way and tell her, things in that way too, because you have to be careful. It's easy for us to get sidetracked in how, we represent ourselves too, especially when, you're engaging in certain spaces, communities, or whatever, because people tend to act like the people that they're around, or we could tend to, get caught up in different energies and just different things. So in the conversation, I gave her the example of Psycho Bunny. Also, why would I want to patronize, whether I'm buying it for myself or if I'm buying it for her, something that says Psycho Bunny? Now, don't get me wrong. Some people will say, okay, Queen Bree, you being like uptight and whatever, like loosen up a little bit. You should have fun. It's supposed to be fun. At least that's what it says. It says that, it's supposed to be some type of fun apparel for men, women, and children. And okay, fine. But why? I don't want to patronize it. I'm not going to patronize it. And I don't want to patronize something and have my progeny or myself wearing something that says that it is a Psycho Bunny, because, when you talk about fun and hanging loose and everything, and you're like, we don't think about how in our day-to-day lives or whatever we're partaking in, wherever we're going, you know what I'm saying? Like, we're just kind of just engaging. But when we stop sometime and we're trying to be more intentional about how we're trying to cultivate and incorporate a certain type of energy in our lifestyle in a certain type of way, that's going to take, being intentional about the things that you're patronizing, or even the things that we say, right? I'm the type of person that, and this is just me being a little bit transparent and sharing with you guys, I'm the type of person that, I have a very high frequency. I'm a very positive person, but I'm human. Sometimes, I get down on myself because maybe, I get passionate, or I get, I get passionate, or I get in a certain type of way. So my vernacular might change a little bit, if you know what I mean. So my thinking is, it's called Psycho Bunny. Why am I going to patronize something that has the word psycho in it? And again, some people might say, Bree, you being too uptight, you being too serious, I've been told that on many occasions, because people that know me for real in my life, they know that I'm deep. They know that I'm a deep thinker. They know that I'm just deep anyway, right? So, So that was just, our conversation. Now, I'm going to share with you guys a brand who I would absolutely never patronize, but I know some people have, and some people probably still do current day time. And one of those brands is called Levi, or Levi Strauss, right? Now, this may be this 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 story, or how Levi Strauss is some kind of racist, it may be news to some people. It may not be news to others. But people that are actually paying attention, and people who know when you know, they know that Levi Strauss is known to be racist because they have racist logo. And I'm going to share the logo. And the logo, it shows two pair of pants, and then it shows like whips or whatever, and they're going in different directions. But the reason why it's so problematic and there's controversy behind it is because when, for the people who are abreast and are knowledgeable and are aware of the Willie Lynch letter, in that letter it was teaching the slave catcher or the slave masters how to subdue their slaves, right? How to make their slaves become submissive by committing heinous crimes and committing atrocities and doing the most atrocious, violent, and evil things against the slave to make them to submit. And then it will create fear, put fear in not only the other male slaves, but then the women and children as well, right? And one of the things that was a part of that process was where the slave will be tied up by his extremities, his legs and his feet, and then the slave catcher or master or whatever, he would beat the horses while the horses are facing in two separate directions. So if one horse is facing north, the other horse will be facing south, and then the slave will be tied to them, and then they will beat the horses until the horses will run in opposite direction until it split them in half, right? And if you have rode horses before, then you know how to control a horse. So they have done some of the most atrocious things, right? And we know, if you know, then you know. It's kind of like, back in the day when they used to send out the postcards with the big ass alligator on it, and then they had the little black baby on it, and it said something like gator bait, where they would sit the African baby next to the lake or the swamp or whatever, and then the alligator would come eat the baby, and then they would catch the alligator, and then they use the alligator for whatever it is they were going to use it for meat, for the skin and things, right? So we're aware of that as well. And some people might say, well, this may be a little, this may be this may be a bit triggering. Or some people may feel, because when I talk about things that these people have done, or I talk about things that are considered pro-black, people may try to misconstrue the message, or try to consider me being some kind of racist, which I think is absolutely crazy. I think it's absolutely absurd. I believe that we should make one another aware of certain things, especially, people who may view my content, or those who are my audience, my people, right? Because people just may not be aware. And I think that people should be aware of, I think that it's a very smart and wise move to know who it is that you're patronizing, because as it is, we're spending a lot of money with people on a day-to-day basis in these big name corporations, right? Even when we're talking about going to go get our goods, going to get grocery, whether we're going to go get petrol, right? We're going to go get gas or whatever. And then when we talk about, a woman like me who could never be racist because I come from a very big family, and I will share, I will share with you guys, like, there's the people that's like, oh, I'm not racist because I have black friends and da 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 da. Like, I don't feel the need to say this. I just want to share it because I love our babies. Like, my first baby, or who I call my first baby, she will be 22. She'll be 22 in a few months, and she's a Latina. And not only is she Latina, but she's a Latina and she's Caucasian. But that's my first baby. And then of course I have that's my god baby. But then of course I have my biological beautiful Nubian princess who I gave birth to. But then as far as the people in my family, I've said before, like, I have a very colorful family, and that's a fact. We have Latinos in our family, and we have, non-African, or what you would consider Caucasians, in our family, and we all love each other, and I love all of them. But I think that they understand also that what I'm doing is not hateful or racist. That, I think that's just crazy. But really just wanted to share truth or share information. And when I'm talking about what is empowering to black people, or talking about what I love about black people, what I love about myself, or just wanting to empower one or others, is coming from love and not to hate on anyone else. That would be an oxymoron. And then on top of that, I think that it would be unwise to take up the role or the energy of an oppressor, or someone who is like your enemy. So I said that to say I love good people and I love my family. So whatever it is that I share, it's not to be hateful or to be racist, but more so to just wanting to share awareness, or to share truth, right? And ultimately to empower people, because they say, may the truth set you free. We may not get everything right every time, but we can just try to do our. So yeah, as I was saying, so when we talk about empowering one another with truth, and especially when we're talking about who we're patronizing and where we're spending our money and everything, when we're tightening up on that, I just don't think that it's wise to spend your money where you are not loved, or where you are blatantly rejected, and where you are hated. I think that is crazy. So then as I talked about Levi's, and I'm pretty sure, a lot of us know some people that, shop the brand Levi and wear Levi jeans. So, this is me wanting to help you to be aware, me wanting to make you aware of, the history behind that. And there's a reason why a lot of us don't celebrate the holidays, because we know the history behind that. A lot of these pagan holidays, a lot of these evil holidays. And then, we talk about brands like Gucci and blackface, and then how they, they apologize. So celebrities begin to start to patronize them again. But how come we can't just patronize like the black Gucci's, if you will, or the black brands that are high value brands, right? That are black owned. Or, then there's Balenciaga, where there was a scandal with them, and they were in the media about how they were doing, these campaigns with children, and Balenciaga had, toys with bondage and things. Bondage, dressing, bondage, apparel with bondage on it, and the kids had the toys or the stuffed animals with bondage on it, or what some may consider dominatrix or whatever. It's just really dark, and it's very weird. It's like child abuse, but people were still patronizing, and it's still patronizing Balenciaga. So what does that say about their character? I don't care if it's a celebrity or whatever. I think that we just let. So that's all I had to say about that, guys. I want to let you know and make someone or someone's very aware of that. And hopefully, we find positive, righteous business that we will patronize people that are reflective of our values, beliefs, and standards. So peace to you and yours. Peace, love, and light. And much ashe to you and yours.